Welcome. So, I wanted to create an online video for the overview for the summer session for music appreciation. So, obviously, if you're watching this is going to be FIA 105. It's music appreciation. It's going to be a 3 credit course, and it's going to be for the first 6 weeks in summer session one. Now, I wanted to go over the course, and so we're going to talk about the course expectations and show you guys what is going to be expected and go over the actual module and how I constructed the module. That way, it's going to make it easy for everyone to navigate it, to do the discussions and the assignments. And if there's anything that I didn't cover or it's unclear, please shoot me an email. So with that, when we log in, and I'm going to go toggle over to the screen. So right now, when you log in, your screen's going to look similar to this. Since I'm the instructor, and I'm not going to go into student's view since it's not activated. You're going to have a few of these links over here. The ones down here are not going to be available to you, and you're not going to need them. Okay, so your home screen is going to come to this page, and I have a welcome video, which we want to watch, a course overview, and that's going to be me talking about all the topics that we're going to be covering in this class. Everything from the Middle Ages and to the Renaissance. We'll be talking about the classical period and the Romantic period. When we scroll down even further, I have basically some information about the class, which I'll let you guys read, and then our weekly topics. All of the course outline, all the weekly topics are right down here. Okay, I have best practices, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you have my contact information. So that's the first thing we can, the best way to contact me is going to be through Canvas. Okay, I have the app on my phone. I'm really good about responding, especially in the summertime. My official policy is I respond to an email within 48 hours, and most probably you'll get it within under 24 hours. My email address is down here, and I do have an office on the Cranford campus. I'd love to stop by and chat, or if you want to do if you have an issue or problem, I can see in person, or I can set up a virtual meeting. So that's the first thing. And if you look on the left, you see the navigation bar again. We have announcements, and we have the syllabus. The syllabus is going to be the second thing I want to talk about. So you definitely, please go through the syllabus, not just with this class, any other class. The syllabus is like a contract. It's a contract between the teacher and the student saying, hey, this is what's going to be what we're learning about, and this is the expectations, okay? So I want you guys to make sure we go through the syllabus. Has all those course descriptions, the material, requirements, and I'm going to go through a couple things. I'm not going to go through everything. That's just because we're going to do that on our own. You definitely want to have an updated, Canvas account, and you need to check your student email. Okay. When I say this, you can't have a personal email address. It has to be the UCC email address, because when I send out announcements, it will go to your UCC address. Okay. With this class, we're going to need to have an active Cengage account. Okay, so the book for this class, it's already included when you registered. It's by Craig Wright. It's called Listening to Music, I believe, and it's already integrated into the Canvas shell. So you'll be able to log in. But if you haven't had a Cengage account set up yet, you'll need to create that. It's free. It just takes like a couple minutes. If you use Cengage books for a lot of other classes at the university, you'll be all set up. A couple other things. Eventually, you will need to have a laptop with a working camera on it. Okay, so with this class, we have a midterm and we have a final. Okay, the midterm and final are both all multiple choice questions. It's all done remotely through Canvas. but we use a program called the Respondus Lockdown Browser. And so when you take the midterm, you have to download this program and set it up, and it turns the camera on. You have to show your ID, and you take the exam through this third-party lockdown browser. So you definitely would need to have a working camera for that. If for some reason you do not have a working camera on your home computer, or if you do not have or if you have an issue with Respondus, reach out to me. Not right before the test, but we reach out to me because we can now make alternative arrangements either through the testing center and so forth. Couple other things with this class: we're going to be needing to have weekly writing assignments that we're going to have puzzle videos and so forth as well, and we're going to have weekly online discussions. And in these discussions, there's a component to it where you're going to want to have your reaction, and then you also want to go and have comments on your other students' reactions. Because keep in mind, the discussions for this class, that's like your class participation, okay? And now I'm gonna show you where all that is. So the evaluation methods. Here's how the class is going to be broken down, okay? So it's 6 weeks. Each week we're going to have two class discussions, okay? Because please keep in mind, this class is taking from a 15-week module, and it's definitely shrunk down to 6 weeks. So we're going to have 2 discussions each week. We'll have weekly quizzes that are based on the reading, okay? You'll have 2 a week, and they're about 30 questions each. They're all multiple choice. With each of these quizzes, you'll have 2 attempts to take the quiz. Okay, and what Canvas will do is we'll take the higher of the score. So if you take the quiz, say you take the first quiz on the music of the Middle Ages, and you bomb it, you fail it. You can go back a second time, and you go back and retake it, and hopefully you'll learn. And you say you get like a B. Well, Canvas will record the B for the quiz, and the quizzes are open book. The object for the quizzes is the idea is I want you to be using the musical terminology and get more familiar with it, as well as I have listening examples in the quizzes as well to get you more familiar with the music that we're doing. So we have another part of this, and this is the part that students actually really enjoy and students really do well. So we'll have weekly Ed Puzzle assignments. And some of you may be familiar with Ed Puzzle, some of you not. So with each week, or each module, shall I say, I'll have external videos that I have, videos throughout the web on YouTube that talk about the content that pertains to maybe the music of the Middle Ages or music of the Renaissance, or I have a podcast on Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And these Ed Puzzle assignments, basically you're watching a YouTube video and then you're going to be answering questions throughout this video. They're pretty straightforward, but it's another way to make the course more dynamic. We'll have weekly writing assignments. That's 25%. I'll talk more about that going forward. We'll have the 2 exams. Now the 2 exams are different than the quizzes because they are not open book. They're going to be closed book. You sit down and you take the tests through Respondus, and then we have a concert project. And the concert project, I'll talk in more detail on the second week. I'll give you the first week to settle in. The concert project basically is it's a 2 to 3 page paper on an online concert. You watch the concert and you write the details about the concert, the kind of the who, what, when, where, and why of the concert project. Okay. Now, when you log in, the first thing that you're going to want to do is click over here on Start Here, and you have a drop-down menu. And basically, this is going to be similar to any other Canvas shell that you would have had in any of your classes. There's a video here on getting started with accessing course materials. Click here. Here's a systems check for you. If you do have issues with logging into Cengage, okay, to access the online book, the technical support contact is right here, okay? So the first module, or the first section, is basically it's getting acclimated to the Canvas course shell. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do. You do it once, you familiarize yourself with it, and then that's it. Okay. Next, we scroll down and we want to get getting the course. Start with the course check-in. Okay. This is basically tips on navigating your course through the Canvas and the Canvas mobile app. Canvas does have an app on its phone. Feel free to download it. It's a great resource for students. And I'll take a little bit about that later on too, because there's a couple things that you can do on the Canvas app that you can do when you log into Canvas that you can't really do on the app. There's instructors right here, Michael DePaul. That's information about me, has like about my bio and so forth. My contact information is right here. And then the two things that we're going to want to do, okay? And if you see these two little icons here, these are icons that say, hey, the student has to do an activity there. The first thing is the getting to know you quiz. And that's basically, it's going to be, tell me about yourself. What are you doing at the college? What's your major? Maybe you don't have a major yet. Maybe you have something you're interested in. I also want to know about what music you're listening to, and that's important because I learn more. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the course. I love hearing what students are listening to because I'm out there usually Googling or watching YouTube videos of the up and coming artists that I've never heard of. So I get to learn something about you and learn something about music, which is kind of fun. And then this is a new thing right here I'm doing is a course syllabus quiz. Okay, and and the reason why I'm doing it, I want you to watch the syllabus, but I also want to make sure you guys are aware of the expectations of the course. Okay. So that's why we want to take the quiz, and with the quiz, when you finish, it will give you, if you get something wrong, it will give you the feedback of what's wrong with your selection. So it's going to have questions like, are we allowed to use AI with this course? I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is no. And so forth. How many times can you submit a quiz and so forth. So we want to do this quiz. It takes 5. I think you have 10 questions. It should take you no longer than 10 minutes. Okay. After we finish the Student Start Here module and the Getting Started Course Check-in module, we'll be ready to roll with week 1. Now, keep in mind, if you look right here, you have prerequisites, getting started course check-in. You won't be able to go log into the week 1 until you finish and look at every single page and do all the activities of the previous module. There's going to be prerequisites for each week. So you can't go to week 2 unless you do all the material for week 1, okay? So it's a way of keeping everyone focused and everyone on track. Now, each module is set up the same way. The first is going to have the overview. It's going to have a list of the due date of everything and all the material that we want to do for this week. Okay. We're going to have the reading for this week. In the course content, where I have recorded lectures. Now, the recorded lectures basically are YouTube lectures of all of the chapters for week 1. Okay, they're available for you. You click on that week. The listening is going to be material for the week as well. Now, in week 1, we don't really have much for the elements of music, but I have music for the Middle Ages. It's all the pieces there, and you want to go through the pieces and listen to them once or twice. Okay. Later on, we'll have more. Later on, you definitely want to go with like romantic period. There's a lot more listening. You want to sit back and listen to the pieces, in their entirety. We have 2 quizzes. Okay, these are both multiple choice quizzes, and you have two times to take the quizzes, 2 opportunities to take the quizzes. Okay. And now we scroll down. We have Ed Puzzle videos. You're going to have this module has 5 videos. You're going to have 5 to 6 videos each week. Okay. The videos range about 5 minutes to 10 minutes in length. The first week is probably the longest of all the videos. Okay. But they're great videos talking about content for the elements of music. When we scroll down, we have our discussion groups. Okay, we have 3 this week. Most times you're going to have 2. You click on the discussion, you participate. Okay, and then we have the writing assignments. The writing assignments, are you going to get 2 a week? They're going to be 1-page, 500-word assignments for each week. Okay, and I grade them. I grade them every week. Okay, and then finally. We have the review. With the reviews, I just have additional resources, maybe other videos and so forth out there. So discussions. Each week we're going to have a couple discussions in Canvas. Okay, and what you want to do with the class discussions is, first off, you want to log in, preferably on Tuesday, Wednesday, and read the discussions. Sometimes I'm going to put a piece of music up there and say, listen to this piece, and then this is what the piece is about, and then what's the discussion about. Okay. This is an example of the first discussion. Introduce yourself to the class, let them know your name, maybe a major, favorite musical artists. Okay. Basically, what you want to do is you come down here, you hit reply, you type in your answer, hit submit button. Okay. The how I grade it is, is the material appropriate for the content? Okay, and then what you want to also do is, you comment on other of your class cohorts. Okay, usually you want to do at least 2 per discussion each week. Okay, and that's basically part of the grading. We don't want to use generative AI. I want to hear what you have to say about it. And some of the discussions don't have to be very, very lengthy. It could be just, as long as you're touching the topic, give me your opinion. And you also want to be respectful and courteous of your other classmates. Writing assignments. So writing assignments is my favorite topic these days. And I have an example of a writing assignment here. You're going to have 2 writing assignments for each week of the course. So it's about 12 writing assignments. Each writing assignment is 500 words, and most people it's pretty easy to do. How I want the assignment submitted is I would like to have them in a Word document using MLA formatting, double spaced. Okay, and I'll tell you the reason why I do this is when you submit the writing assignment, I can add, if it submits it in Word, I can actually add my comments to the actual document and give you feedback. Okay, so that's the first thing. So it's going to, again, remember, it's a Word document, double spaced, and MLA formatting. Okay. Now, all the writing assignments are going to be structured similarly to this, where I give you a little information about what's going on with the subject. You're going to have to watch a video or 2, YouTube videos, and then the writing assignment will be down here, write about, the troubadours and things you want to write about, like right here. What themes do they incorporate and so forth. Please read these writing assignments appropriately, and again, 500 to 600 words. All the material for these writing assignments come from right here, right on Canvas. So with that, you don't need to go Google any other, research any other sites, and so forth. Okay. So we want to keep all the information with right in the context of what we get from Canvas. Okay. We don't need to go to any other sites. Okay. Secondly, we do not want to use generative AI to create any of these assignments as well. I want you to write it yourselves. I'm not. What I'm looking for is to hear your opinion about topics, not the computer's opinion. Secondly, yes, I will look at grammar and so forth, but I'm not going to be grading you or critiquing you on grammar. I'll let you know of certain things if there's issues. But again, this is a music class. This is not an English class. But again, I want to hear your opinion and not AI's opinion. So if we do get documents that are computer generated, you won't receive credit for them. In addition, we also have Turn It In, which will be when you upload your document. There's a program, our third-party program is attached to Canvas. It's called Turn It In, and it will get a score of so forth. And you'll be able to see the score of maybe 10%, 5%, 3%, and basically you have to keep your Turn It In score under 10%. Okay, so they're the criteria for writing for these writing assignments. Okay, let's go. Boom, boom. Okay. I want to talk about making sure you folks are set up for success. Okay, and there's a couple things we want to be able to do in our lives that are going to make us more successful. Okay, the first is planning out your coursework. Don't wait till the last minute. Every time you don't procrastinate. So you want to set aside at least 6 to 8 hours per week over the course of the summer for this class. It's the only way you're going to get the reading done, the puzzles done, participating in the discussions, and then doing the writing assignments. Okay, the writing assignments do take a little bit of time. I understand that, but you'll learn a lot from them. With that said, we want to set 6 to 8 hours of time right for this course. In addition, you want to have your own routine. If you have a study routine and it's habitual, you'll be much more successful, okay? Maybe, and again, within that routine, you want to try and figure out maybe a quiet area in your home, maybe go to the library or so forth, that you can work, and you can work without distraction. Now, there's another thing I want you folks to be aware of with this class and with most online classes. There's 2 types of dates in this class. We have expiration dates and we have due dates, okay? Due dates is when an assignment is due, okay? You can still, for an example, like I have a writing assignment. The writing assignment might be due next Sunday on the 26th, okay? So once it expires, once it's due, afterwards on the 28th or 29th, on Monday or Tuesday, you can still submit it late, but you're going to get, your grade's going to get deducted, okay? You want to try and put all your work in before the due date. The expiration date is when your work is it expires and you're not going to be able to submit it anymore. Okay, and that's important because we want to do the week 1's work within week 1. Once we get to week 2, first off, the discussions are only available per each week. Okay, so once the discussion expires, you can't go back. The assignments. You have some time to submit the assignments late, up to 4 to 5 days, but after that, the assignments do expire. So please try not to let the work pile up. Okay, you want to do as much work as you can. In addition, I've also set up the course where you can work ahead if you so choose to. And sometimes it's going. You finish the work for module 1, maybe it's Thursday. Start on module 2. You can do that, okay? So just to be clear about these things, set enough time for the week to do the work. Try and find a quiet space where you're not obstructed. You want to try and make sure everything is submitted on time, especially with the discussions. Once there's the due date and with the discussions, it's the same as the expiration date, and it's at the end of the week. And the logic is because we're having a discussion with the class. If the class has moved on and you haven't participated in the discussion, it's not going to be kind of a code work based. Okay.